All right, everyone, welcome back to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. Hey, we have a special guest today, and we want you guys to actually meet her. If you haven't met her before, she's been on the channel before, and now she's back in South Africa, and she's here to purchase some land. She's actually purchased it, so we're really excited, and we want you to meet her. It is the fashion influencer, Tanika Boyd, so stay with us. Hey everybody, this is Mark Blanton from The Real South Africa, and we have a special guest. But before we go to our special guest, we have
Dr. Latasha Blanton, The Real South Africa
Travel and Tourism. So now we have a special guest. I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
I am Tanika Boyd. I will soon be a resident of South Africa.
Yes. And actually, the last time she was here, she took over the whole channel. You made me a co-host.
Allegedly.
You did. You made me.
That's what the people say.
Yeah.
It was a Tanika takeover from what I understand.
Yeah.
Welcome to sunny South Africa.
Go for it. I like it.
This is the real South Africa. I am your new host, Tanika Boyd.
And I am the assistant. Yeah.
It was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, and we're going to do the same thing again, hopefully. So we're just going to have some conversation and whatnot. So, you know, I remember when you came 100 years, a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we ultimately connected. I think you reached out and you was like, where is this South Africa at?
Where is this South Africa? Yeah.
So tell us the difference between after you came with us and then before that you were coming on your own.
Yeah.
What was the difference?
Yeah, so we started coming to South Africa, my husband and I, like 11, 12 years ago. And we came like many people do as tourists. And we saw what many people see, which is like Cape Town.
Yeah.
That was what we originally saw. And then when we did start coming to the Johannesburg area, it was primarily like Kruger National Park. We've been to Pretoria. But we fell in love with South Africa, even not having spending like a lot. We hadn't spent a lot of time in Johannesburg, but we still like really loved it.
Yeah.
It was like the energy was so nice, the people. There was something about South Africans also that really reminded me in the best way possible of African Americans. They had this experience, this like tumultuous experience. They were building culture. It was just like, you know, they were like harkening back on their culture. It was just like always a vibe. I always experienced just like great hospitality. But then we were perusing on the YouTube streets, which we love to do, the YouTube streets. And I saw the real South Africa, and I saw like the places that you all were taking people to. And what stuck out to me was that it wasn't the usual like poverty tour
that
took people on. But it was just showing people just all different sides of South Africa. And it was a side of South Africa that we hadn't seen, having visited for, I think by then, maybe 7 years.
Yeah.
And we still hadn't seen like the South Africa that we see now, which is these beautiful estates, the Mall of Africa, like just so many varied experiences. Yeah. And so that's why I reached out, and it's been incredible. Yeah. You showed me a whole new world. A whole new world.
Yeah. And it's funny because we have people that have been here before. I think one of our recent guests who just left, he had been in South Africa before, and then he was cruising on those YouTube streets, and he ran across us, and he was like, "Well, I didn't see that, and I didn't see this." So then he came on a trip with us just recently and was like blown away. He was like, "I never seen any of this, and I came here before. I paid people good money to bring me to South Africa. I came here and I didn't see any of this."
Yeah.
And I think he had a good experience. I think, Tasha, you chatted with him a little bit.
I did. I chatted with him, obviously before, he showed up. But I think the most impressive thing is that he had honestly just gotten back from his tour with another company and saw us and was like, "Where were you guys when I booked this trip?" And immediately, like a month or two after, he had already been back. And he did. And when he came back, he was like, "This is way better than what I had the first time." No disrespect to the first company, but he did say that he had an experience where he was able to see more people that look like him, able to see people that look like him doing great, wonderful things, and just to get a level of service that he honestly wasn't expecting from South Africa, that he really felt like he was at home. So it does matter who you travel with. It's honestly
matters.
how I look at it.
It matters.
100%.
And so, like I said, we was glad to, show you, what we see.
Yeah.
Because some people think, they just meet us on YouTube, on these YouTube streets, as you say, and they think, oh, well, they just got there, or they only been there for a few months, or they trying to show people stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that we've been back and forth for 8 years before we came here. So, and then after that, we've been living here for over 5 years. So we got really acquainted. Full time.
That's right.
Ain't miss nothing. We see everything.
Mm-hmm.
We see people come, we see people go. Trends, the South African trends, now the trends of people wanting to migrate to Africa. I think you've kind of seen that yourself, right?
100%.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, I am team Africa in general, especially for Black Americans.
Yeah.
I think it's such a diverse continent. I think there are just so many different experiences. I mean, you're talking about 54 countries, territories, you're talking about beach, you're talking about, ocean, you're talking about mountains, you're talking about animals. Literally everything, desert, everything you need, you can find on this continent.
Yeah.
And I feel like historically Black Americans in general, but Black Americans just have been taught to think that it's such a scary continent, it's so much more dangerous than other continents, and I've just not found that to be the case. It's with its problems,
of course,
like all places, but to judge an entire continent that is the most diverse in the entire world off of like what we've been taught is just not the case. Now, however, that's my disclaimer.
Okay.
We have a lot of unlearning to do ourselves as an American, right? Like no matter what we feel like we are, no matter how conscious, no matter how educated, there are always aspects and gray areas that we don't know about a place. That's just what it is. And so my personal pet peeve is when people come to the continent, any country, and they're expecting to see America.
Yeah.
This is not Miami.
No.
This is not Vegas.
Yeah.
This is not Cancun.
Yeah.
That's not what it is.
This ain't Tulum.
This isn't Tulum. And there's no disrespect to those places. Those places are gorgeous in their own right, but they are literally little mini US, and they cater to US like tourism. And a lot of countries, specifically South Africa, I think specifically Kenya and Ghana, even Senegal, like some of the places that a lot of Americans are just starting to venture to, they are starting to experience these waves, and with the wave comes a backlash from Americans because they don't like the infrastructure. They think things are moving too slow. They think all these things. This isn't America.
Yeah.
It's not America,
yeah.
And you don't want it to be. And you don't want to be a gentrifier. You don't want to be a part of this colonizing culture.
Yeah. You
want to be a part of embracing what is. That's not to say that people who are native to these countries on the continent are not without criticism, but I just feel like as a visitor, especially with Western privilege and access, I'm personally, my opinion, I'm not about to get online and start blasting my soda to 30 minutes. Yeah, it's just like, or I paid $10 for a ticket and the artist came out, an hour late. It's just like, have you ever waited for Lauryn Hill in New Jersey?
I've heard about that.
That's what I'm saying. And but some people, they get their Western privilege and their platforms, and then they blast the continent to an audience that is looking for anything negative to hang on to and say, oh, that's why I don't visit it. And it's just like, I think that's...
So they need to show a little bit more grace.
A lot more grace.
Yeah.
A lot more grace. I mean, a lot of the countries we're visiting are developing countries. And I don't necessarily like to use that word because I feel like it can be disparaging. Yeah. But I think in the intellectual context, the academic context, it is you can experience very super overdevelopment almost. Yeah. You can experience almost all the comforts of home. And then there are aspects of it that are still growing.
100%.
Right? And so what does it mean to have grace for a country that isn't the most economically stable country in the world America is allegedly supposed to be?
Yeah.
I like the word allegedly.
But we're finding out.
I mean,
it's been exposed.
Infrastructure. Yeah. Yes, every day. We have infrastructure challenges in the US, but people take, it's like par for the course.
Yeah.
right? Like when I'm talking to people on the continent, they're just like, or even in Europe, right? They're like, so you draw the line at it taking an hour for your meal to come out, but what about the police? What about you can't go into like mega stores and grocery stores without fear of being shot up because we have an issue with police violence? And it's like, not to get political or just not police violence. Well, we do have an issue with police violence, but gun violence. It's like not to get political, but like we as Americans, we really don't have as much room as we think to talk about other countries' infrastructure.
And you know what's unique? It is so.
It's like we're sending our kids to K through 12 schools, and they have active shooter drills, and we're concerned because it's a pothole in the street. Like, have you never lived in Harlem? It's potholes, and I live in Harlem, so I'm saying that as a person who experiences it. But it's like we come to other countries, especially on this continent, and we become so hypercritical. And I think we need to be led by what people who live here, their ideas, their political solutions, and not try to come and impose. Like, how are we supporting?
So South Africa, come on inside, find out exactly who we are, what we do, and how we are changing things in the tourism space here in South Africa. We're bringing a luxury experience, so check us out. And of course, we're going to tell you everything about us. The Real South Africa is a travel and tourism company. Our overarching focus is to bring to the African diaspora what South Africa has to offer in the realms of tourism.
My husband, named the company, and it made sense simply because of what we're shown in the media when it comes to South Africa. We're never shown, how beautiful the people are, how beautiful the architecture, the fashion, the food. So for us, when we got to experience how people actually have real lifestyles and they love their families and they socialize, like that was more real to us than anything that we had ever been shown, as far as the media is concerned on that side. What we were taught.
As a proper travel and tourism company based here in South Africa, we wanted to bring to our audience there in the diaspora the opportunity to have a great time in South Africa on a 5-star level. As you see, we like to bring our people the best what's available here in South Africa, offering up nothing but 4- and 5-star events here in the country. I think they have never ever heard of what's happening here in South Africa because of the surprise responses that we get when people are booking their trips here to South Africa, not knowing that this stuff even existed. So we will do what we can. We bring the best, and of course our travelers love what we do, and they always leave South Africa with a smile. So this is amazing for us. We have amazing offerings all throughout the country. We feature Cape Town a lot because of the breathtaking views. We also like to show everybody Johannesburg because of all the opportunities that exist and that the diaspora is looking for in reference to business and being able to, be in an upmarket area. And then of course, a lot of our people love to be near the beach. And of course, Durban is good for that because of the weather and it's tropic. And that really matters to us in the diaspora. So all I can say to you is welcome to the real South Africa. Enjoy.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.